Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Don't Blink. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to Dawn of War, fucking Christ, Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader. We've been doing a lot of this content recently. A lot of Dawn of War, a lot of Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader. Um, but I mean, this is probably one of my favorite, tabletop board games in ever. Um, I saw that they did do like a Warhammer Age of Sigmar game recently, which I kind of want to check out, even though the reviews are more meh than anything. But at the same time, for Age of Sigmar, I picked up my first army. I picked up the Ossiarch Bone Reapers for them. So or for that game, which will be fun as soon as I can figure out how to play the game, because currently there's nobody to teach me, which kind of sucks. But at the same time, it's like whatever. I'll figure it out one way or another. I'll teach myself because I'm smart enough to know how to play Warhammer 40k. Like literally, I'm the guy that the gentleman at the Warhammer store that I go to. He asks me to teach everybody else, which is honestly kind of funny. Um, so yeah, I teach everybody at the Warhammer store when he's too busy to be doing that kind of thing, and then I even get to play games against these new people, which is awesome, and I appreciate it. It's fantastic that everybody trusts their first time playing with me, because I am absolutely shitty at trying to explain how to play the game. But I I've played it so many times. I've played the combat patrol so many times where it's like, uh, I don't need to be able to explain it well. I just need to know what the hell I'm talking about in order to explain it. Because, you know me, I'm not that good when it comes to just explaining things. So yeah, it's quite the time. I appear to be having connectivity issues with my phone, which is fantastic. Hold on. Bear with me. There we go. There we go. Okay. Now my phone's connected. Alright. Who's ready? Some Dawn of War. Or, fucking Christ. I'm going to call it Dawn of War Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader, because that is where my brain is currently at. What did we even do last time? Did we? Oh, right. We got the, we have ourselves a... Why is my brain not coming? Why is it not coming to me? Fuck, I don't remember her name. What the hell? Oh, Boxmaster Vigdis, Lord Captain, sorry to disturb you. Vigdis pauses, as if listening to something. It's pandemonium. Yeah, it's pandemonium outside the bridge gate. One of the officers seems to be demanding an audience with you in person. I think I hear Master Rosarian's voice. In any case, I wanted to warn you in advance. A dialogue. God damn it. Now I gotta deal with this. Yeah, we found ourselves in Astropath when last we played, which was on When in Doubt Save. Yeah, fucking Christ. We found ourselves in Astropath, which I think we did on Friday, I want to say. And we, yeah, we just did that. Now we're moving on to better and greater things, which will be awesome. Speaking of which, yeah, now we're hopping into this. Can't move 5 feet in space without a fucking problem, apparently. What do you want, people? Abelard. The everyday sounds of the bridge are disrupted by voices raised in anger. Abelard's voice the loudest of all. This is not the conduct of an officer. These are the antics of a high-born brat out on a lark. Explain yourself, Lieutenant. The young woman standing before Abelard strives with all her might not to quail under the onslaught of her superior's anger. She falters, but then manages to look him in the eye and say, I apologize, sir, but I must speak to the Lord Captain. What do you want? Very well, Lieutenant. You may address the Lord Captain, not least because I see you have already seen fit to disturb her. Your unauthorized appearance on the bridge and display of belligerence toward a high-ranking officer will be logged on your personal file without delay. Lord Captain, Lieutenant, or what the hell do you want, phone? Shush. Lieutenant Varela Bent, requesting permission to speak. Bent falls silent and then adds rashly, on a matter of extreme importance and urgency. You may speak, but I want to hear a report, not a shouting match. Having two officers bickering in full view of the bridge is unacceptable. I am sorry, Lord Captain. I thought that drastic times called for drastic measures, Bent exclaims hotly. This matter cannot wait. Any minute now, an assault unit will be dispatched to the lower decks on orders to crush the workers' strike by any means necessary. But I am convinced that this step is unwarranted, and that the crisis itself was provoked by the actions of one of the senior officers. Bent is almost trembling with tension as she delivers her speech, her face extremely pale. Abelard, in no hurry to intervene, lets out a skeptical huff. Lord Captain, I urge you to investigate the actions of Seneschal Wersarian and to intervene in what's happening on the lower decks, because very soon we will have a mutiny or massacre on our hands. Vent reels off the last words as though she knows them by heart. She has clearly been preparing to say them for some time. When she is finished, she casts an anxious glance at Abelard, then at you. How did this all start? The situation can boil over at any minute, so I'll give you the condensed version. Well, yes, that'd be great, thanks. It all began when the enforcers found a cultist amulet on the body of someone who'd been killed in a drunken brawl. We reported it up the chain immediately, arranged for a cleansing rite to be performed, and opened an investigation. No heretics have been found alive, but the search has brought tensions between enforcers and workers to a head. Where does Seneschal Wersarian come into all this? I shall explain, Abelard intones grimly. I beg you to hurry. Time is running out. I will not hurry. Since my competence is under scrutiny, I shall speak for as long as I see fit. There is an established order to the way things are done on this ship, and one of the pillars of that system is that the rogue trader's attention is not distracted by trivial matters. It is the Seneschal's role to ensure that. I have always handled internal problems myself, so of course, when I received information about cultists hiding on the lower decks, I took the matter in hand. So long as I live, not one of the vermin who murdered Theodora von Valancius will find refuge on her ship. You were far too heavy-handed, Seneschal Wersarian. Arrests, interrogations, mass punishments for entire sectors, it has driven the people to the brink, Bent says bitterly. Now there is a strike on the lower decks in Depot 4, to be precise. Three worker clans are involved, but many more are passively supporting them. The situation could degenerate into an all-out insurrection, but when I reported my concerns, the only response I received was an order to dispatch an assault unit and crush the strike with maximum force. What is Depot 4? Depot 4 is one of the poorest sectors on the lower decks. It is home to clans of general laborers. They are not as valuable to the ship as the families who have served its specialized systems for generations. They are an easily replaceable resource, and one which is now, more besides, giving succor to cultists and minions of the archenemy. Continue. Depot 4 is poor and troubled, but at worst that means drunken fights and illegal Rykad brewing. We have handled the workers of Depot 4 in the past. We would have done so again if the crackdown on Depot 4 hadn't been so harsh. And another important point to bear in mind, the problem is not limited to this sector. It is located on one of the most populated lower decks, and everything that happens there has a knock-on effect on all the neighboring sectors. Abelard? I see no need to add anything. I acted within the remit of my authority, guided exclusively by the best interests of your protectorate and your personal safety. If you wish to confirm the rectitude of my actions for yourself, I have no objections. For my part, I urge Lord Captain to go down to the lower decks, stop the assault unit, and speak directly to the people. You will see that they are not lying or harboring heretics. That way you will stop the uprising before it begins. I'm certain the seneschal was acting within his authority, but I will verify the soundness of his decision for myself. All these kind of sound like I'm kind of kicking him in the balls, saying, I don't 100% trust you. This one totally sounds like it, but then that means I'd have to probably get more people for the crew. We'll say this because at least it sounds like, I trust in my seneschal. I trust Abelard with this decision. However, yeah, I mean, either way, it's an incorrect choice. He's going to be very upset about it. But it's like, I mean, come on. Abelard grits his teeth slightly. An enterprise bordering on the sophomoric, but please yourself, Lord Captain. However, I categorically insist that I escort you. Fair enough. Yeah, it's like, just, it's a lot of, like, if I let them die, then I have to get more people for the ship. But if I can try and save their lives, that means that I can do more and not have to worry about having to recruit more crew members, because it's already kind of a pain in the ass to do that. Oh, goodness. Excuse me. Hey, it's Rosarian! Take that, scum! Abelard reflexively wipes the sweat from his brow in a startlingly human gesture, and a telling one. A rare moment where he allows his age and weariness to show through his armor-like veneer of self-assurance. The lower decks are a source of endless problems. Sometimes I dearly regret that we cannot replace all the locals with servitors. Oh, yeah, fucking... Yeah. I chose the wrong thing, but still, here we go, reading this. They would not have the chance to express such disrespect if we were not here. And if the situation had been dealt with by the relevant officers, Abelard grimaces. It is the junior officers' worst failing to pass problems up the chain of command. I have never been able to abide it. I shall say it again. It was a mistake to come here on Lieutenant Vent's whim, Lord Captain. I must admit that the lieutenant is by no means the worst material for an officer, Abelard adds peevishly. But in the name of terror, the girl is the same age as my eldest great-granddaughter, and she has the gall to tell me how to manage the lower decks and hunt down cultists. It will be another 20 years at least before she can be trusted to act without oversight. Yeah, let's just keep moving. Honestly, yeah, the lower decks are pretty freaking poor.
Follow my lead.
Huge pipes, the arteries of the ship, run through many bays, delivering air, water, heat, and the propulsive force of steam. Huh, fair enough.
I won't tolerate weakness.
Vrilla Vent. The sounds of a heated discussion reverberate through the ship's bays. Lieutenant Vrilla Vent of the ship's enforcers is barring the path of a heavily built assault unit officer. Excuse me. And judging by their expressions and tone, the standoff has dragged on for some time already and has now reached boiling point. I have my orders to put an end to the unrest and purge this sector. You can take your orders and shove them. This is my deck and my sector. There are only 3 people who can waltz in here without my express permission. The first officer, the rogue trader, and the Emperor himself. So not all my lessons fall on deaf ears. Abelard mutters in crabby approval. He does not clarify whether he means Lieutenant Bent, the officer looming over her, or both. Your ladyship. Noticing you, the two junior officers snap to attention and salute. Their subordinates following suit after a moment later. What's the situation? Your ladyship, my people have locked down the bay where the strikers are, including their leaders. We have the situation under control as far as resources allow. They threw things at us. Bent pale slightly. The people are getting desperate, clearly. They saw the assault unit and they decided they had nothing left to lose. I mean, I apologize, Lord Captain. It is outrageous. I'm sure the people simply didn't recognize you. It wouldn't have occurred otherwise. We will deal with them once the current situation is resolved. Is that all you have to say? Are you sure you're worthy of an officer's rank, Lieutenant Bent? I forgot. I think... No, why would you have a lieutenant in charge of a whole deck if they were in O2? I don't know. Let's see. I want to speak to the strikers. Abelard's mouth twists, but he restrains himself and says nothing. Right you are, Lord Captain. Allow me to wish you good luck. Hope gleams from Lieutenant Bent's eyes. Oops. Let me go this way.
Any challenge for me?
A dozen pairs of eyes stare apprehensively at you. The people before you are typical inhabitants of the lower decks. You take in their simple clothing, crude weapons, and faces that display varying levels of mutation, from the barely discernible to the strange to the outright grotesque. A whisper passes through the crowd, and you detect a mixture of fear, astonishment, and joy in their reactions. Finally, 3 people break away from the crowd. An elderly woman and 2 men. These must be the leaders. They bow clumsily before you. Lord Captain, you have come down to us. Here's an explanation for you. The people have been pushed to their limit, and now they're lashing out as if we don't know why these top deck units are being sent down here, like that one there that the lieutenant won't let past. Our clans are all inside the bay that's been sealed off, but the lower decks are big. I'm sure there are some people who've had just about enough. We're getting it from all sides. The soldiers have encircled the ones who've risen up. A death squad has just arrived. It's no wonder folks are lashing out. Their words seem sincere to you. Their body language and the glances traded between them reveal that the news of the attack has shocked them. Okay, well that's fair, I guess, ish. Not really. Striking. That's news to us, your ladyship, says a tall, thin man in worker's garb. All we're doing is asking questions, saying what we think. Yeah, and that's against the fucking premise of the whole Warhammer universe. Shut up, Rivet, snaps the old woman, who turns her hostile dark eyes on you. Here's the deal, your ladyship. Your damned enforcers are all over us down here. They say they're looking for cultists. One wrong word and they're reaching for their batons. If they want to punish someone, they turn off the heating to whole bays for a week at a time, so we get sick and freeze. In my clan, 2 little ones died from inflammation in their lungs, all because of those enforcers. The old woman spits on the floor and rubs at the spittle with the toe of her worn-out shoe. Argenta does not interrupt the workers, but you see the sadness well in her eyes when the children's deaths are mentioned. She quietly whispers a requiem prayer and makes a sign over herself. It's all true. Bent is the only enforcer officer who stood up for us. It's clear as day who had a mother from the lower decks, and who grew up midships and has no fellow feelings toward us. The grim man with a scarred face throws up his arms. Your ladyship, we're no villains here. We're honest workers, your servants. We plotted no disorder. We went on strike openly, and now we've got guns pointed at us. All we're doing is asking to be allowed to work in peace without being harassed. The persecution started apropos of nothing, you say. I was told that one of you was found in possession of a cultist amulet, and that there are heretics hiding here. A cultist amulet? What's that? The goo god they found on the dead drunkard? If it was something evil or forbidden, we sure didn't know. The enforcers just said they were looking for heretics among us, and anyone obstructing their investigation would be punished. But how could there be heretics here? We know our own people. There have been no new faces around. Definitely not. And if there were, we'd be the first to report them. And as for this amulet, or whatever it is, they took it off a dead body. There are no cultists still breathing in our sector, that's for sure. But when that fight broke out, some enterprising folks looted the bodies. The boots they came back with. Nobody's ever tread these decks in boots so fine. I can tell you that. Seems to me these cultists have better commanders than us. Oh, you're being a bitch. I wish that I could kill the old lady without incurring everybody else's wrath. Oh yeah, those boots really were fine. And there was no harm in taking them, right? As for the amulet, it must have been pocketed by someone who didn't know any better. We don't need any amulets around here. We all worship the Emperor. And when we're working, we bow down before the machine spirits of the large and small transformers and the servo motor. The same way my grandfather was taught 100 years ago by a tech priest who came calling. Believe us, your ladyship, we are people of faith. Naive children! Weren't you taught from an early age about the dangers of the archenemy's creations? Weren't you warned that any unfamiliar object could be one of them? Oh my goodness. We were told, holy sister, but it was long ago. The last time we saw a confessor in our sector, it was just after I'd had my third little one. Good lord. That is regrettable. But you cannot lay the burden of leading a righteous life on the shoulders of the Holy Fathers. Who will you blame when beasts crawl out of those amulets you stole from the heretics? The Holy Father who was not there, or the scavenger who brought evil down on himself and his neighbors? Abelard, what do you have to say? I authorize the use of all necessary measures to locate chaos worshippers hiding in this sector. The specific steps taken by the officers were not reported to me. Abelard frowns, clearly disgruntled at having to explain himself in the workers' presence. Nevertheless, I am certain that their actions were justified. Cultists are no drunken stevedores. They are the enemy and a threat to the ship. Neutralizing them demands decisive action. What changes do you want? Would you look at this? The exalted Lord Captain herself is asking us bilge rats what we want. Well, here's what. We want you to rein in your damned enforcers, to quit turning off the heat, and to stop battering everything that moves. No, that's not it. We want the enforcers gone from here. And we want to be armed. Give us arms, and we'll govern ourselves. We'll defend ourselves if these cultists do show their faces. I've been leader of my clan for 20 years now. Getting rid of these club-wielding thugs can only improve things around here. No, that... way too far. Way too far. You've gone way too far, old man. They'll never let the maggots on the lower decks live without the enforcers breathing down our necks. They probably even insist on enforcers on the upper decks, too. As for weapons, what do you need them? What do we need them for? Before the first day's out, we'll have someone shooting their neighbor out of stupidity or drunkenness. We don't need that. If the enforcers stop hassling us, that'll be enough. In return, we'll find the scavengers who robbed the cultist bodies, and we'll talk to them, one lower decker to another. If there are any more of those damned amulets about, we'll hand them over to the enforcers ourselves. You speak for yourself and your clan, and I'll speak for me and mine. I don't want empty gestures. I want real change. They'll promise us the world now, but as soon as the Anointed One turns her back, these brutes will be on us even harder than before, all because we dared to speak out. Yeah, but yeah, it's a bad situation for you down here. But if I allow you to have free reign of yourselves, it's going to be even worse. The tall worker's eyes dart between the two arguing leaders. Every few seconds, he opens his mouth as if planning to agree, but each time he falls silent, simply making a vague noise of approval. We're going to go with this, the coercion party. Spreading anarchy on the ship is the first step toward embracing chaos. Putting weapons into untrained hands would be even worse. What's more, the enforcers are needed to maintain oversight and order. Withdraw those demands and we will consider the rest. Coercion test succeeded. Of course it did. The tall worker they call Rivet shrugs and casts a sidelong look at the old woman. Old man, listen! Listen! The Lord Captain herself has come down to us and is offering concessions. And I don't know a single person in the whole of Depot 4 who's ever stood next to the rogue trader, let alone talk to them. Back down. Now's no time for you to be a stubborn old crone. Listen to us, old man. The three clans of Depot 4 ought to act as one. We've made our minds up. It's your turn to decide. Don't ask them to disband the enforcers or give us weapons. We don't need any of that. The old woman hisses in dissatisfaction. You two are ganging up on me, is that it? So brave you are against an old woman, but I'll shut up. I will, indeed. I won't go against two clan leaders on my own. If you want to make peace with the enforcers, make your peace. Christ. That's great. Just fantastic. Lord Captain, we're all agreed. Then it's decided the persecution will stop, and I will expect you to assist in locating any remaining amulets or weapons left by the cultist. Your ladyship, thank you. You have not abandoned us lower deckers. You came yourself and settled everything. I'll tell my grandchildren about this. Of course, your ladyship. We'll root out any nasty business faster than the enforcers, and we'll leave no stone unturned. Fucking better.
Victory awaits.
Yes, we've already won because we convinced everyone not to kill each other. Abelard, stopping unexpectedly, Abelard imperiously dismisses the unit to stand at a distance and addresses your other companions, saying, I have an urgent matter to discuss with the Lord Captain. Please, give us a moment. Abelard looks at you, and his last vestiges of restraint vanish. Well, are you pleased with your investigation, Lord Captain? Kowtowed to the disloyal rabble. You believed their lies and showed them leniency. Next time the ship is attacked by cultists, that rabble will welcome them in with open arms and allow them to wreak whatever havoc they like, because they see you as a weak leader. Is that how you see your future at the helm of the Von Valancius Protectorate? Let's talk about your role in all this instead. You allowed this revolt to happen. Your actions practically guaranteed it would. I would have handled the situation myself had you not decided to intervene, Abelard says irascibly. Remember, Lord Captain Theodora. Do you think she ever set one slippered foot on the lower decks? No, she did not. Such matters were left to myself and the junior officers while she dedicated herself to the grand designs for the Protectorate. As any true strategist and rogue trader ought. Maybe if Theodora had spent more time on trifling matters, she wouldn't have wound up dead. There is a new Lord Captain aboard the ship now, and I will not repeat her mistakes. I would be only too willing to trust in my seneschal and not fill my head with such matters. But the situation had spiraled out of control, Abelard. Give me a reason why I should continue listening to your advice and trusting your judgment. Right now, I don't see any. I like this one because it's like, I do trust him. He's a knowledgeable man and he knows everything about the ship and how it's supposed to be run. However, like, I don't know. You know what? We'll do this one. Abelard's face relaxes slightly. You're right. At least as concerns junior officers making complaints directly to you. And Abelard stands straight at attention. I lost my temper, Lord Captain. I believe I ought to explain myself. Abelard speaks slowly, the words not coming easily to him. The prosperity of the Von Valancius Protectorate is not just an empty phrase to me. I left the Imperial Navy for the chance to see it flourish. It was the most momentous decision of my life. I did it because I saw in Lord Captain Theodora's deeds the sign of true greatness. Rogue traders do not simply forge new routes and capture worlds. They create order out of anarchy. That creative impulse was entirely lacking during my time in the military. So I left behind everything I had known, everything my family had known. I come from a long line of officers, and I embarked upon this incredibly reckless venture. Lord Captain Theodora. Oh, God. I'm sorry. I'm tired. I'm very verbally tired. Like, the words just are, like, coming out like jelly right now. Lord Captain Theodora entrusted me with all the concerns she had no time for. She would go off on her flagship for long periods, to distant frontiers, on scouting voyages, and the advancement of the entire Protectorate rested on my shoulders. Then suddenly, everything that had been built over years and years began to quake, rattling like a flimsy hanger on a seismical active world. One of the senior officers betrayed us all. The rogue trader was killed. Who knows what is happening on the planets? I tell you this honestly, without fear of appearing weak. All this has come as a grievous blow to me. I am not panicking or grieving because I cannot allow myself to panic or grieve. I am duty-bound to aid the new rogue trader, to aid you, to find your footing as quickly as possible. And to do that, I must insulate you from problems that in the past have been dealt with by tried and tested procedures, set out in the ship's regulations. Procedures that were established long ago and have functioned smoothly for decades cannot suddenly be deemed excess to requirements. Theodora trusted in established procedures, and she died. I won't make the same mistake. If you want to keep building the future of the Von Valancius Protectorate, stop living in the past. I understand, but you need to learn how to respect me as your Lord Captain and Rogue Trader. Accept it and start living in the new world. A world where Theodora is gone and where you and I have new decisions to make. I don't know which one of these I like. I like number one because it's like, you know, I want to change things and do things in a little bit different of a way. Because if I'm remembering correctly, I am a commissar. And as a commissar, we just kind of shoot everybody in the head. Well, no, fuck it. Because I'm a commissar, yes, there we go. Abelard dips his head in a sign of assent. The shadow of incredible strain which evidently had been wearing on him for some time, finally lifts from his face. I'm glad you see the value in the foundations laid down by your illustrious predecessor. Why fix what isn't broken? As for me, I shall endeavor not to cause you any further consternation, Lord Captain. And now, please, let us leave the lower decks. If the rogue trader desires to stretch her legs, there are far more suitable places. I agree. To the Void Ship Bridge. I definitely don't mind doing these long-winded missions. I really wish they gave us a voiceover or something to uh-oh, what happened here?